Hello, my name is Lou, and I'm excited to start this presentation for you. So we're doing this presentation on leadership styles. So my name is Lou. Again, I am majoring in communications here at ASU. I'm in my third year. Um, Hopefully, I'll finish up soon. A little bit about me is that I have a cat, and I love him very much. His name is Finn. I work at Starbucks. I'm a shift supervisor, and I have been there for about 3.5 years. And then there's just a couple pictures of me and some friends. So first off, for the leadership style assessment, I got the Democratic leadership style, which involves members of a group participating in decision-making processes. Um, and generally, these types of leaders value creativity and innovation, collaboration, and engagement between group members. And apparently, these type of leaders also try to seek out diverse opinions between group members. Do I agree with this? Yes, I do. I think that I am a democratic leader generally, and most of this is me at work. This is how I view myself at work as a supervisor, having experience leading others. I I value the input and thoughts and ideas of others when I am deciding on collaborative goals. Um, I usually will let the group decide the outcome, um, and I make the final call, generally agreeing with everyone. And combining group member ideas is important to me when deciding on an outcome. And the correlation this has with Chapter 7, I wanted to touch on peer communication relationships because at my workplace, we're all pretty close friends. We get along really well. And in my experience, I feel like the closer you are friends with the people you work with, sometimes the easier decisions can be to make, because everyone respects each other's opinions and is more eager, like they're all more eager to offer input instead of just, being in there and being afraid to speak up. I tend to try to establish solid relationships with everyone at work so they all feel like they can approach me with problems or something they want to communicate with me. So that's what I wanted to relate this to. And I just find as a Democratic leader, it's best to get input from all group members. So I usually end up um, encouraging closer relationships between all of my workplace colleagues. Some barriers with this leadership style. The main one is groupthink. So this is a phenomenon that occurs when people feel the need to conform, thus making non-optimal decisions. So value is placed on harmony rather than critical thought. So people are more concerned with the well-being of the group, thinking, oh, I don't want to stir things up too much. I'd rather just make everyone happy. And if everyone's thinking that, no one's going to come to a conclusion. So at times, being a democratic leader for me involves like overcoming groupthink, I suppose. Like being the one to challenge groupthink and say, okay, well, what is everyone, actually thinking? Are we really happy with this decision? Do we want to change this aspect? And I just think it's important to remember that everyone's input is valuable in any kind of communication scenario. So, another barrier can be that minority opinions can be overridden. This could be at work, like someone that's newer, they might not be as excited to speak up, or they might not feel like they're able to speak up because they're new and they don't really quite know their role. So my job as a leader would be to bring that person in instead of just like walking over their, you know, thoughts and opinions or the you know, um, them not expressing an opinion and just letting that, stay to the side. Um, Another thing is that it can lead to communication failures if roles are unclear. So if people don't know what's going on and you're not clear in that communication, I think it can be difficult for people to make a decision. Another thing about this is that it can be a lot more time consuming. I know that at work, if I'm asking all of my employees questions about positions they want to be in or things that they'd rather do, um, that can take a little bit more time than just, placing people on the floor wherever. And I decide that, and, you know, I think that that's much easier, but sometimes your floor at my place of work, it doesn't flow as smoothly if you don't get opinions on how people are feeling and what the vibe is for everyone. So those are some barriers, and that's kind of how I deal with those. In conclusion, I believe that democratic leadership thrives best when input is exchanged by all members of a group, and that workplace friendships can make decisions easier, in my experience. And as a leader, it's important to be respectful of all group member opinions and to do your best to incorporate them into the final decisions. And then I also think it's important to develop trust with your team. So, developing a habit of, if you are a democratic leader, of asking them for their opinions and really developing the idea that they can come to you if they're not feeling a certain way or they aren't wanting certain outcomes of an opinion or of a decision. Um, Trusting that you will make the best decision for them as well as the group, I think is really important as well. So thank you everyone for listening to my presentation. Um, and I'm excited to hear everyone else's